You are listening to How to Get Over Your Ex, episode number 196, The Real Reasons. Welcome to How to Get Over Your Ex, a podcast on getting over your ex without it just taking time. I'm your host, breakup coach Dorothy. Let's turn your pain into power and your heartbreak into happy. Hello, brave hearts. I hope everyone is doing fabulous. It is the 4th of July today, and I chose to work because we have something called the Blue Angels Air Show that happens. They do their homecoming show, and that's happening this week. So I am going to take Thursday, Friday off for that. So I chose to work Sunday through Wednesday, and I actually kind of really love it because no one else is working. I have all this alone time, and I just get to deep dive into my work, which I'm obsessed with. So today I want to talk about something I call the real reasons. Now, this is a concept that is very closely tied to decision making, and it's important in our breakup because we want to make sure that when we are going through a very traumatic or big transition in our life, that we are making decisions from a place of really liking our reasons and feeling empowered. And more often than not, I see brave hearts not actually even clear about the real reasons they're choosing to do something or not do something, and they feel very disempowered and not in control. So the examples that we're going to talk about today are primarily around getting over your ex and building the bigger and better life, but you can apply it to many different things, and I want to explain kind of how this concept really came about. Now, when I was a new coach and I was learning how to create my business and create clients, I learned a concept called objections. And these are objections or, things that people would say to me when they were talking about maybe working with me. And I would do these things called consultation calls, and I was trained to overcome and coach people on their objections to not working with me. This was a huge learning curve, but the way it's framed never really made me feel good. It wasn't my favorite way of thinking about it. So for me, I really thought about this. And for me, I love helping people believe in themselves. And I always believe in my clients, even when they don't believe in themselves yet. So when their objections, or what I like to call reasons for not signing up to work with me, were about their belief in themselves and their ability to get over their ex, I would always stand up for them and help them work through that limiting belief. And not so that they would sign up and work with me, but because regardless of working with me or someone else or no one, right? I want my brave hearts to have transformation, and I want they're going to have to believe in themselves to create that transformation. And that would look like coaching them through that transition and getting them to a place where they make a decision from an empowered place. Whether or not that's a yes or a no to work with me, it doesn't matter. But I want them to feel empowered in their decision and really like their reasons. I want them to completely change their life and not just survive their breakup, but really thrive, right? But here's the thing. The real reasons are always behind fluff reasons. Okay, I like to call them real reasons or fluff reasons. And I think you've probably noticed this before if you look at this in your behavior. So let me we'll talk about it here. It's hard to be honest with ourselves, and therefore it's hard to be honest with others on why we're choosing to do something or not do something. And I'll give you an example so you can see this. The number one reason people tell me they're not going to work with me or join the Get Over Your Ex program to get over their ex and truly build that bigger and better life is money. And money, it feels like a real reason, does it not? But what if I told you that was a fluff reason, that it's actually covering up a real reason that's even more powerful, even more impactful to see? And I think money is a really easy fluff reason. I have been working on not using it as a reason for me and my life and my decisions for a really long time now, and I still notice thought errors in my thinking around this. And many of us accept this as an acceptable reason, and no one really fights back on this or pushes you to like dig deeper. And that's okay. I'm not saying everyone in the world needs to agree with me, but what if we looked beneath the fluff reasons? Money being one of them. There's lots of fluff reasons. But what if we looked beneath those fluff reasons to look at our deeper reasons for making a choice that is important to you in your life? And here's why. It's very beneficial to do this, and I want to explain why it's beneficial. When we stop blaming fluff reasons, money being the example we're talking about today, right here is one of them. We'll talk about other fluff reasons, but when we stop blaming something like money for what we choose to do in our life, or time's another fluff reason, we get to the core of the problem. And what's so cool about that is we get to see what's really holding us back from deciding on something. And I feel like it's money or time, but what if it wasn't? What if there was a way around the money and time that would allow me to create what I want in my life? And getting to the real reason is also going to get you to a real solution. And all of you, if you've been listening to the podcast, you know that I love very short and simple, here's your problem, here's your solution. I never want to be working on a problem in the world that doesn't have a solution, right? And I feel like when we get to a core real reason, we get closer to the solution and closer to the outcome in a faster way. And that's what we want. We don't want excuses in our life for why we can't have what we want. We want solutions to them. We want next steps and how-tos. But we aren't going to get there if we blame our external circumstances for what we can and cannot create and have in our life. So the question becomes, how do we do this? How do we get to our real problems if we're interested in doing this, right? So it's very simple. We ask ourselves a very simple question, and we do not allow ourselves to say, I don't know. So the question is, if money or time, so if these were your fluff reasons, if money or time wasn't an issue, why else wouldn't I do this? Now, this could be about buying a home, changing your career, getting over your ex, whatever it is that you're struggling with or working on and working towards right now that might be using a fluff reason. And see what comes up. Remember, don't allow yourself to say, I don't know. Ask yourself, if I did know, if money or time wasn't an issue, why else wouldn't I do this? And see what comes up for you. I just led a 5-day How to Get Over Your Ex training, fabulous training, 5 months of healing in 5 days. And when I do this, I invite all of the Bravehearts into the Get Over Your Ex program because that's where I can help them further and really guarantee that they'll get over their ex and live that bigger and better life within 3 months or less. Now, when I do this, not everyone in the 5-day training signs up for the 3-month program, right? So this time, I really want to send out a survey, and I asked if price wasn't an issue, why else wouldn't you buy? Because like I said, money is typically always the number one thing that I hear that comes up for people when they want to work with me and, all of that. So I never want money to be a reason that keeps someone from doing what they want to do in their life. It means so much to me to teach about this topic, but I really, really wanted to take it a level deeper and look at what are the real reasons coming through for people. And the answers to this survey were so powerful, and I wanted to talk about them with you here today. And I've coached on so many of them many of times, and it completely changes people's lives when they see their real reasons, not because they sign up for the program, some do, some don't, but because they can identify real reasons that they like to make their decisions from, which leave them feeling really powerful and in tune with themselves and really showing up for them. And when you do that, you can stand for your decisions. You can feel good about them. Even if other people question your decisions, you're indifferent because you know for certain that was the right decision for you. And that's what we're getting at, is when we get to a real reason, we're looking at real solutions, and you find a solution that feels right to you, and you do it from an empowered place instead of a disempowered place. And I want that for you, Braveheart, today. So let's look at some examples. So the second most common thing that people were telling me in this survey was time, right? Which I said is another fluff reason in my book. I just want to preface all of this. These are my own perspectives. If you don't like them, you don't have to take them. But these are just my own perspectives and how I live my life. So time was the second thing that came up, and it was a time consideration. Like I've told you before, this is another fluff reason to me because time is always available for what's important to us. Same thing with money. If your child needed $3,000 to go to the hospital and for you to meet weekly, at midnight on a Zoom call, you would make it happen, right? Because it's important to you. So if you're using time as a reason to do or not do something, really ask yourself to explore that deeper. Is it that I don't find it important enough? Is it a priority right now? Why or why not? Do I like my reasons, right? There's so many Bravehearts who have joined from Australia, and they make these like call times for the Get Over Your Ex program, which are during the day in America, work. So I know it's possible when someone is really committed. But here's the catch. If it's not that important to you, it doesn't mean you need to make it important if you don't want to, right? Just acknowledging that as a reason and asking yourself if you like that reason. If not, change it to an empowering reason, like I'm prioritizing my time to some other area of my life right now, like sleep. I don't want to interrupt my day-to-day for this outcome, right? I want to find a different solution. And notice how that feels, right? That feels empowering, like you're doing something, you're going to have next steps in comparison to saying, I don't have the time. And that's completely different. So then when I went through and found money and time to be the most common reasons people used, I've categorized those, like I said, as fluff reasons because for myself, they are. That doesn't mean that they have to be for you, but for me, I never want to be at the effect of money or time. So therefore, I like to never say I can't afford something, even if it's seemingly true, like buying something I genuinely don't have the money for. That doesn't mean I buy it, but I give myself the reason I like first by saying I could afford it if I wanted to, but my priority at this moment is saving 6 months worth of expenses for maternity leave. That's what I've been telling myself a lot for a lot of my expenses. And that to me feels empowering in comparison to saying, I can't afford it right now, right? Okay, so in this survey I sent out, here are some of the real reasons that many beautiful, badass Bravehearts uncovered and what they get to do now, knowing these are their real reasons for choosing, in this example, not to sign up for the Get Over Your Ex program, where they're guaranteed that they will be over their ex and building that bigger and better life. So I loved these answers. I loved them uncovering this for themselves to then, make decisions from an empowered place, regardless of whether or not I was actually signing up for the program. Now, the first one was, I want my ex back, so I don't necessarily want to commit to getting over my ex. And how many of us can relate? I know if you're listening to this, you might be in a situation where you don't actually want to get over your ex. This is the number one real reason I encounter with my Bravehearts. Like, how cool is it to just be that honest and vulnerable with yourself, to say, I could afford it, I could make time for it. However, I actually just want my ex back. So that's really what my true hang up is. And just getting honest with yourself and being real like that, huge, transformational, right? And y'all, I get it. It's confusing, right? Like, why would I sign up for something to get over an ex when all I really want is my ex back? But here's the thing I always say is, getting over your ex does not mean never being with that person again. It means, one, not being at the effect of your ex emotionally, learning indifference, reducing desire and attachment so that you no longer rely on them showing up or being a certain way for you to feel good, right? And two, knowing you create any result you want in your life, regardless of who's in your life. The life that you want so desperately with your ex does not actually require the ex that left. And knowing this and living it are two very different things. So if that's what getting over your ex means, why wouldn't you want to learn that? Because here's the thing. If you don't do the work now and you do get back together with your ex, because I do see it happen, it will feel uneven, unequal, and you're going to be terrified they're going to leave again. And I don't want to see you repeat those patterns over again with the same person or even someone new for that matter, right? The second, thing that came up in this survey that I did was it's hard to put myself first. And I really get this. It feels so uncomfortable. I can totally see this for my mama Bravehearts and Bravehearts who take care of their parents. It can be really uncomfortable and almost selfish to invest time and energy and money and, effort into yourself at this extreme. It's almost like, the first time you set a boundary with someone and you almost feel like you did something wrong. I actually had a Braveheart I coached over a year ago when we were looking at and finding her real reason. And she realized that she felt like, who am I to deserve something like this? Who am I to deserve investing $3,000 in myself and my brain and my life? And now realizing this was something coming up for her when it came to joining the Get Over Your Ex program was one thing. But what was really powerful is how is this actually playing out in all the other areas of her life, right? How are you making money and time the reasons you don't do what you say you're going to do, but in reality, it's a worth issue, an enoughness issue. You aren't giving the things you know you deserve deep down, not because of money or time, but because you deep down don't believe you're deserving of them. Isn't that huge just to see? Putting yourself first during your breakup might feel extremely uncomfortable, but let yourself experience that short-term discomfort to have long-term gain. It's just like working out or sitting down to do a task you really, really don't want to do. It hurts in the moment, but it feels so good long-term. And that's kind of what it's like to sign up for the Get Over Your Ex in 3 Months or Less program. Just the decision to do it is a transformation in itself. The third one I want to talk about today is I'm not fully at the breakup point yet. I should wait until I'm actually broken up. So good to see this real reason, right? My question for this real reason is, what if joining now actually helps you get clearer or closer, right? Meaning by joining now, you'll start learning 1, emotional maturity, and 2, how to build the life you want regardless of what your partner is doing, all the while in a relationship still. And then by doing that, it helps you create an amazing, beautiful breakup experience through getting clear, or you realize you're actually really in love and you love that relationship and it creates closeness between you and your partner and saves your marriage or your relationship because you no longer rely on them for your emotions or results in your life. And I'm just saying, I've had many people still in their relationships join the program, and it makes the whole process that much easier in the long run. Another real reason that came up was I'm ruining my life if I let go. And how might you be ruining your life by not letting go of your ex? And there's no right or wrong or good or bad answer to this question. Really answer that question honestly for you. But it's really worthy of exploring. And what happens when we don't let go of things in our life we are meant to let go of? It might be different for everyone, but in my personal experience, shit gets tough. It gets bumpy. It feels like I'm swimming upstream. I feel like I'm dragging someone along, constantly trying to convince them to be with me or to do life the way I want to, making compromises after compromises until there's really nothing left of myself. And eventually the universe will not let me fuck up, so it'll just end the relationship anyways. So I'd really explore that for yourself if it's really aiding you to believe that you're ruining your life to let go of something that's trying to leave. And does that reason feel good to you? Do you feel empowered through that reason, right? This next one was really good as well. So I've signed up for so many other programs that did not deliver. And I'm nervous that it won't actually be all it's cracked up to be. And I seriously just unbelievably appreciate this person's honesty and vulnerable feedback. This is a real fear, and I hear all the time, what if I don't get over my ex? And here's the thing. I over-deliver, period. I have your back. period. Forever and always, Bravehearts. I love you so much. I live and die for you. So the podcast, I want you to think about it this way. The podcast, it's free to you as the listener. It's not free to me. It costs me money and time to produce and all of the things, but it's free. And I want you to think about how powerful and impactful it's been. Pretty huge, right? Huge over deliver. What would you pay for just the podcast? But you're getting it for free. So then you've also got my 5-day training. For anyone who's done that, it used to be free. Now it's $17, but it's probably worth like $3,000. There are people who do that 5-day training and get over their ex. It's amazing and mind-blowing, and again, a complete over-deliver. I actually got to the point, this is a total side note, I just remember there was a conversation I had with one of my coaches who was like, maybe you just ixnay on the 3-month program. Why would people want to pay $3,000 to spend 3 months getting over their ex when they could pay you $3,000 to spend 5 days with you and getting over their ex? And I'm like, that's a powerful thing to think about. I didn't do that. But it's $17, that 5-day training, and it's probably worth $3,000. And there are people who do it that get over their ex in that 5 days. And it's amazing and mind-blowing. And again, a complete over-deliver. The 5-day training, we just really barely scratch the surface of what's in the 3-month program. So think about the over-deliver of something we charge $3,000 for. It's a huge over-deliver. But I also understand, here's the thing. If someone ever came to me, and this is just my own personal opinion as a coach, if someone ever came to me after spending 3 months with me and they did all of their work, they showed up for themselves, they really did their end of the bargain, like they really did all of the things and believed in themselves and believed in the ability of it working for them, and they really showed up and did it all, but didn't feel like they got their money's worth, I could never really keep their money. It just doesn't feel good to me. It's like an energy exchange, and I, of course, can't do the work for you, but I do take full ownership over what I do control, and that's the quality of my coaching, the quality of the content, the ease and simple solutions I provide. I do things very differently from a lot of my colleagues by quantifying my clients' results and goals so that you know by midpoint and at the end of the program what progress you have made. And if you're sitting there saying, I've never made any progress, I did all of the work, this has just never happened. But if you were someone who did all of that, like you actually showed up for everything and you did all of the work and it didn't deliver, that's something for us to talk about, right? And I come from data analytics, and any learning development program is only worth something if you can measure if it actually works. And that's just the way I think about it. That's the background I come from. I literally measured learning and development programs for large organizations to see if it was worth their money to invest in their employees in that way. And so I now am able to measure my own learning and development program in a way that helps me make really data-driven business decisions for my clients' well-being. So, I believe and trust that those of you who know you are meant to work with me will make it happen. And those of you who know it's not a fit for you, I trust that in you as well. You know you best, and I'm grateful to be a part of your journey in any way. Another real reason that was super powerful and amazing is I'm pretty much over my ex, so I don't know if I need the whole program. Now, there are people that this program is not for. If you've identified what being over your ex means to you and you've accomplished that and you're living your bigger and better life completely, you are not at the effect emotionally of things outside of yourself, and you create any result you want regardless of who's in your life, you've got zero desire for your ex and zero attachment for your ex, gold. My Braveheart, 100% do not sign up. This is not for you. However, have you ever had something that was broken in your house that you never learned how to fix or get fixed, so you learned to live kind of like around that problem? I think most people know what I'm talking about. And then all of a sudden someone comes over to your new house and they try to go use that ice machine that hasn't worked for years, and you say, oh no, that doesn't work. Here's this ice cube tray I've been filling up over and over and over again, to the point where maybe you've spent days filling up ice cube trays if you've actually added up all that time. And it might be minuscule to you that maybe you don't have that much, further to go. But what if that last little thing is the thing that could completely change your life if you could fix it? All of a sudden, because you learned how to fix the ice cube machine, not only do you not have to fill up ice cube trays, you now know how to fix something that broke in the dishwasher, and you didn't have to spend money there for a handyman. You didn't have to go days without the dishwasher because you knew what to do immediately. You had built a whole new skill set you didn't even know you needed by fixing that one ice cube machine problem instead of living around it. It's the little things that add up over time, Bravehearts. So, seeing these real results are just examples, okay? Take this and apply it to any decision you're trying to make in your life during your breakup. Ask yourself this simple solution or this simple question, right? If money or time wasn't an issue, or insert whatever your other fluff reason is, if this fluff reason wasn't an issue, why else wouldn't I do this? This could be about buying a home, changing your career, getting over your ex, whatever it is that you're struggling with or working towards right now. Look at that and ask yourself, if this fluff reason wasn't an issue, why else wouldn't I do this? And determine if you like those reasons. Examine how you feel with those reasons. Make sure you feel empowered by them and not disempowered. Lastly, with all of this being said, I'd like to make a little fun announcement, actually 2 fun announcements for those of you who have used cost and money as a reason that's keeping you from joining us inside of the Get Over Your Ex program. I have now, for the month of July, as a little experiment to kind of test out my theories, opened up a 6-month payment plan. So instead of making 3 monthly payments of $10.50, you can make 6 monthly payments of $5.25. This will only be offered for a month because it is an experiment. So you'll want to join us now if you'd like to guarantee yourself over your ex and building your bigger and better life in 3 months or less. Secondly, for those of you who feel very inhibited by your money and you notice yourself using that fluff reason and you no longer want to use money or time as a reason that keeps you from going after what you want in your life, and you don't want to feel inhibited by money and time, and you want to learn how I think about money, I have included in the show notes a link to my free mini money mindset course. This is a very, mini course, but I wanted to put something together for you. It's been together actually for a while now. I don't think I've ever announced it on the podcast. So, like I said before, this is a topic that is just near and dear to my heart because I've been through it with money and I've completely revamped my relationship with it and how I think and feel about it, and it's transformed my life, and I want that transformation for you as well. It is a part of your bigger and better life, whether you realize it or not. All right, my beautiful badass Bravehearts, I love you so much. Make sure to find your real reasons and like them. Thanks for tuning into today's episode. If you found this episode helpful, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. Don't forget to subscribe to the How to Get Over Your Ex podcast for more episodes like this. And if you found any of our episodes helpful, we would love a written review on the Apple Podcast app to help other heartbroken humans turn their pain into power and their heartbreak into happy. I love you guys. If you're loving the How to Get Over Your Ex podcast and you want to learn how to get over your ex in 3 months or less to build a life better than the one you thought you had with your ex, I would like to personally invite you to my next group course where we take everything you've learned here on the podcast and apply it to your life. Come check it out at www.lifecoachdorothy.com.